brink of famine in parts of South Sudan. Both the government and the United Nations report that 100,000 people are facing starvation, with 1 million more on the brink of famine. Civil war and economic collapse are being blamed for the crisis. It's the first time in 6 years that a famine has been declared in any part of the world. Families of missing people in the Gambia are still waiting news of their relatives. December's electoral defeat of former leader Yahya Jammeh, who was in power for 22 years, triggered the release of many political prisoners. However, for families of missing people that disappeared over 6 years ago, hope is fading. New President Adama Barrow is determined to bring closure for those families, even while mired in financial crisis and faced with reforming a state that Jammeh's critics say centered to the interests of one man. Malaysian police say they believe 5 North Koreans were involved in the murder of half-brother of leader Kim Jong-un, with 4 having fled the country on the day of the killing. Kim Jong-nam died after being swatted in the face with an unidentified liquid at Kuala Lumpur International Airport last week. The case has sparked a diplomatic row between Pyongyang and Kuala Lumpur, after Malaysia rejected demands to quickly hand over the body to the north.
After we have done that, then we leave it to the police how to deal with that. They are the ones who will deal with it. And also on the next of kin, releasing of body, the certification, that's all under the police because this is a police case.
Muslims have been gathering in Cape Town to take part in the singing of the Gadat. The ritual involves a set of Quranic verses and prayers. The tradition started when most Muslims were slaves in the region, and as such, they were not allowed to pray by the colonial authorities, so they sang their prayers. The event rarely happens in a public place. Pakistan is one of just 7 countries worldwide to legally recognize a third gender. The community is visible and tolerated as part of local culture, yet many feel targeted and some fear for their safety. Diane Desobor has this report.
It's party time for the girls, a coming-of-age celebration in Peshawar's transgender community. Pakistan is one of only 7 countries to legally recognize a third gender. But Khawajaseras, which include cross-dressers, transsexuals, and eunuchs, are shunned in this conservative Muslim society. Most, born as boys, are rejected by their families and end up earning money from dancing at weddings, begging, or sex work. Sohana had to flee her home when the Taliban moved in.
Everyone was teasing us, mocking us, whenever they saw us, calling us names, shouting at us, and even throwing stones at us. And with the Taliban, if a man had no facial hair, they would be cruel to him.
Like Sohana, many transgenders have been displaced from tribal areas since 2007. But here in Peshawar, they were faced with another challenge. Under its rules, the UN can only help displaced families, leaving this community on the sidelines. Since 2009, third-gender Pakistanis can be identified as such on their ID cards. They have the right to vote and run in elections, but little is done for their protection. More than 50 transgenders have been killed since 2015 in this province alone. Among them, Alicia. She was attacked and died in the hospital after doctors failed to give her proper treatment because of her identity. Her friend Paro has herself been kidnapped, gang-raped, tortured, and shot.
After the death of Alicia, my heart was broken. I had put some money aside, so I spent some of it on her funeral, and I started a small business with the rest.
But Paro is still afraid. She works from home, where security is tight. Change may be coming, though. A court has just ruled transgenders should be included in Pakistan's upcoming census for the first time, a way to give the community more visibility and hope for better days.
Some breaking news this hour. An Egyptian court has upheld death sentences against 10 people convicted over rioting that claimed 74 lives at a stadium in Port Said in 2012. The appeal court's ruling, which is final, excluded an 11th defendant who also received the death penalty in June 2015, but remains at large. Time for a short break now, but plenty more to come, including business news. And do tune in later this week for an Arise Oscar special brought to you from our team in Los Angeles.
There is a place the whole world is talking about. A place where big things are happening. A place that is providing the unexpected. A place that is optimistic and vibrant.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello, nice to meet you.
A place where the old traditions live happily alongside the new.
Are you well? Welcome.
This process here is state of the art.
And it's just
A place that is achieving the impossible.
that's what we can do.
First time in Africa, sir?
Yes, it is. But it certainly won't be my last.
Welcome to the bank that has empowered the people of Africa to achieve a great many things. Welcome to the bank that believes that even greater opportunities and partnerships lie ahead. Welcome to Guarantee Trust Bank. Wouldn't you rather bank with us?
The best way to predict the future is to create it. There's a special breed of achievers out there that are called tomorrow's people, the highly creative ones who live in the future. They imagine what will be and strive to make it happen. They are bold. They refuse to wait for the future. Tomorrow bends and conforms to their ideas. At Access Bank, we share the same sentiments. We've been able to grow our bank to become a leading player in Nigeria with a strong presence across the continent, adopting best practice in everything we do. Our mantra for success is simple: speed, service, and security. Those who shape tomorrow, strive for, and demand perfection. At Access Bank, our service culture of speedy response and drive for excellence is the blueprint for creating customer experiences that will echo for generations. Come, let's work together and take tomorrow.
You're with Arise News in Abuja, Nigeria, and you're watching This Day Live with Hafsa Tushinkafi. Let's remind you of our headlines here on This Day Live. The offensive on Western Mosul takes shape as Iraqi forces recapture surrounding villages. A reward of $100,000 is on offer for the arrest of those behind the bombing in Mogadishu, which killed at least 34 people. 1 million people face starvation in parts of South Sudan. Gearing up for the Oscars, Moonlight scoops top award at the U.S. Writers Guild. Now to business, and Tokyo's talks overcame early losses to end modestly higher today as yen weakens prompted late bargain hunting. Shares opened in negative territory even though U.S. stocks hit new highs Friday for the 6th time in 7 sessions, with investors focusing instead on dollar-yen movements. Stocks moved into positive territory in the afternoon as the yen weakened. The Nikkei index edged up 0.09%. The Topix index of all first section issues advanced 0.16%. The dollar rose to 113.2, 3 yen today in Tokyo, up from 112.87 in New York on Friday. Mongolia has reached an agreement with the International Monetary Fund on a $5.5 billion bailout package. The North Asian nation has been hit by a more than 50% fall over the past 5 years in the price of copper, its main export. Billions of dollars worth of the natural resources lie buried beneath Mongolia, but development has been delayed for years, and slowing growth in its biggest customer, China, has hobbled the economy. In oil prices are holding steady today as investors measure whether an increase in U.S. drilling rigs and record stockpiles would undermine efforts by producers to cut output and bring the market into balance. Brent futures were down 5% at $55.75 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was unchanged at $53.40. OPEC and other producers, including Russia, agreed last year to cut output almost 1.8 million barrels per day during the first half of 2017. The United Bank for Africa in Cameroon, Senegal, and Ghana have been issued a default rating of B-. The three banks are subsidiaries of Nigeria's UBA. According to statement by Fitch Ratings at the weekend, the value of UBA Cameroon, Senegal, and Ghana is driven by their standalone financial strength. Time for a short break now, but plenty more to come, including business news. And do tune in later this week for an Arise Oscar special brought to you from our team in Los Angeles.